Greetings YouTubers, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be looking at this 2006 Chevy Trailblazer 4.2 with 106,000 miles, and we have the infamous code here. There's a snapshot of it, P0496. It is an evap code for that guy right there. So it looks like we're going to be replacing this purge valve, which unfortunately, and it's kind of difficult to get to, sits right down here on the side of the block. Right down there. So I'm going to give you some tips how to get that off and how I figured this was the problem and all that. Now earlier I did drive it around after I did a smoke test on it, and I cleared all the codes in an earlier video, and I couldn't find anything that was leaking anywhere. No smoke leaking out any of the lines or anything, and I couldn't figure it out. So I started doing some more research and looking at some other things here, and I do have a couple purge valves, one of them in the back, which you saw in the earlier video, had a little bit of smoke coming out. When it's off, that's normal, but when it's commanded to be on, the smoke should stop, and it did. So this one here was kind of hard to get to. This was the last thing I wanted to deal with, but until then, or before then, I did clear the codes one more time, and I thought, well, maybe I have a bad gas cap, because a lot of times you'll get that, and you'll get a light that comes on that tells you, check your gas cap, or even a gas cap symbol. So I pulled this off. I stuck this on. This came with the smoke machine. This is actually a cap that I can put on here and pressurize this. So I put that on there, drove it for about 20 miles, and the light came back on for that purge valve. I wasn't quite convinced that it was that, but this kind of led me there. So after doing this test, checking everything underneath, I started thinking, well, so go ahead and take the purge valve off here and, test it. And the way you test these, if it's bad or not, basically you just blow through it. If you can't blow through it, then it's good. But if you can blow through it, and this one I can blow through, hear that? Not good. That's not supposed to be happening. So I pretty much figured out this was bad. So I went to the local auto parts store, and about $30 I bought a new one. And this one here, you cannot blow through. So we're going to change this out now. This is kind of, well, I'm not going to say it's difficult to get to. It's a little tough to get down in there. You got one little 10mm bolt that sets on the inside of the engine like that, holds that in, and kind of goes like that. That's not even actually the right bolt for it, but it's setting here somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. A little bolt, 10mm bolt goes in there like that. It's fairly long. So what I did to have better access, you can probably get through it down here by the firewall, but take the wheel off and all that, but you can probably see a little bit better if you did that. But it's probably still a little tighter, but you could probably get your hands up in there if you want to do that. But I thought, well, I'll do it the hard way, like everything in my life sometimes. So I just pulled off the computer, no big deal, and pulled off this little housing, and it gives me a lot more room here to get in here and get your hands down in here and move all this. Now the hard thing was the clip that goes on it is right here. That wasn't too bad. This front hose right here, that you have to take a little screwdriver, get a clip, get one of those little tools, and push this clip out and get that clip out of there, and that'll slide out. And the big one on the back here, which I was like, how am I going to get that off? Well, turns out as I spin it around here, there's a little, there we go, I'm breaking it, bear with me a second here. There's a little tab right there. If you put your thumb on it, on the back right there, you move it, I don't think you can see it, but right there, it's on the bottom, you can't see it there, but if you just move that, that releases that, so you don't have to worry too much about that. So that's how basically got it off. So you got to have some pretty long arms to get down in there and some patience. So that's how I got it off. So what we're going to do, we're going to stick this back on, and we're going to clear the codes, and we're going to drive it for about 20 miles and see if this light comes back on. Now I do have one other code. It's running lean. I think I've got an intake gasket bad. I'm going to be doing a separate video on that. It's got a slight miss in it, so I figured I might as well take care of these codes here first, the emissions code and all that, this 496 code. And that might eliminate this up here, but I don't think so. I still think I've got a gasket up here. It's running too rich, it says. So other than that, I think we might have a small air leak up here, but when I did the smoke test, Didn't see any smoke up here, so that's something we'll deal with later, and I'll do a video on how to take this off and how to get into the fuel injectors. I'm basically going to replace all the fuel injectors in this and the intake gaskets and see if that takes care of the slight miss and all that. But for now, we'll go ahead and get this in, and I don't think I've missed anything else, but other than that, we'll just slide everything together. Now it does bolt on like this. I just realized I'll have to take this clip off of this one here. Slide that on there, and it bolts on the side of the block just like that. Kind of sits on there. So, but you get a little extension in there and a little socket, you should be able to get it off. So interesting. So let's go ahead and get this off and see what happens. All right, so we got this here off pretty much. You got to just bend this little tab up and release it, and now we can slide this one on like that, and I'll push this tab back down right here so it doesn't come back out, and we're in like Flynn with a grin. So all we gotta do now is bolt this up, connect it up, and see if it works, and hopefully this will help you out. So if you got the 496, do two things. Well, do three things if you can. Get a smoke machine, test your system, make sure you don't have any leaks anywhere. Second thing is verify your cap, or get something to test it. Put some plastic over the back of the gas cap tank back there where it doesn't where it'll hold vacuum basically, or air pressure. And if it still comes on, then you come up here and start checking this out. But if one thing you can do is, if you don't want to take this all the way off, just disconnect one of these lines and run a vacuum line down and just blow through it that way without taking all this off. So that's one way you could test it, and you could probably do it through the firewall. If you can blow through it, then you'll need to replace this, and that's probably your problem. All right, so that's on there. Let's go ahead and get this on. All right, it's on. Like I said, it's quite a ways down there. You gotta stretch your arms, and I know it's almost impossible to see it, but it's on. It's right about there. Like I said, they couldn't have put that in a tighter place. They could have just done it on top, no smaller than that thing is. So everything's hooked up. The one thing I did do, I did break that other clip earlier when I took the old one off, and now you can pick these here up, these little clips here, for GM. I had to put the white one back on. Took care of that, and there's what was left of the other clip. So, hey, well, it's on. So all we gotta do now is put the bracket on for the computer, hook all this up and start up, clear codes, and see what we got. So, hey, let me know where you're watching from right now. All right, lastly, we'll put our computer back in. Now, I did do a video on how to get one of these, program it, put in your car and all that. That was my problem with the transmission the whole time with this thing. It's bad, so let me get that seated in there a little bit better. Probably helps if I put it in the right way. There we go. And now all we gotta do is connect our wires up down here, and we're good to go. So get this hooked up. All right, so there's the last one. Push it up in there like that. Interesting how they got these plugs set up. There we go. Push down, actually. There we go. And they're all in. And we're good. So, yay. This fixes the code. I'll be so happy because this car has had this code for quite some time. I was there for a while. I would go in the back and open up the gas tank when I get fuel, and it would go. I thought, well, it can't be that. Then one day, it just quit doing it. I noticed when I was getting gas, and I thought, well, maybe it's that, and more than likely it was that. So we're hooked up. All right, let's clean up, start it up, clear the codes, and see what we get. So we're back to the vehicle. Something I just realized, since I had the computer unhooked, I probably don't have any codes now. They've probably gotten all cleared because they had no power. Let's just see if I have any codes. Probably not. We got the key on. Yeah, key's on. 496 and running rich. Hey, how many of you laid in bed right now on your laptop watching this? Yeah, so I cleared all the codes. Anyway, we'll go ahead and start her up here. See if I notice any difference in how it runs. I won't notice that until I take it back out in the highway. All right, so we'll drive her for a little bit here, and we'll come back and see if the code pops back on for that P0496. All right, so we've driven about 40 miles. Let's see if any codes. We have no check engine light. We're actually at the airport. Get that windsock. Had to come over and make sure the Cessna's all anchored down. She's bouncing pretty good, but expecting some 40-mile-an-hour gusts. So Hey, if you'd like to see a video on that sometime, give me a thumbs up in the comment section, or say, hey, yeah, heck yeah. 69 Cessna K model. Got big 1/4-inch ropes there, so oh, one sock's bouncing. But anyway, let's go ahead and hook this up and see what we get. I'm hoping we don't have any codes. Well, we never know. But we'll watch it here, Ron. If we get rid of the 496, then we're good. It seems to be running a little bit better. It doesn't have the shake like it used to, a slight shake, but I can kind of feel it. I still think I've got an injector bad out there that I'm going to replace eventually. But we'll see if that took care of it, and if it did, you'll know, non-purge during flow. Hey, no codes. We don't even have any pending codes. So this is great. Looks like we have no more emissions code. Yay! Alright, so I guess this is about it. But I can feel just a slight miss. It's hard. I mean, you got to know what you're looking for and feeling. But I can feel it's there. But at least we got rid of the code. And no more emissions codes. Yeah, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If not, give it a big old thumbs down. So until my next video, guys, I will see you later. All right. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. All right, we're back home here. Let's check it out. Let's see. We've got 100 miles put on this thing since we've worked on it. Let's see if our codes are all still gone. But definitely the emissions code. We'll check and see if we have a pending code or anything. It looks like no check engine light so far. So first time in the history of this vehicle I haven't had a check engine light on. It was so full of issues when I first got it. Look at that. No codes. Yay. The red's just, it's still working. Yeah, but nothing serious. We're good, man. I actually fixed something today. Thanks for watching.